This video here is going to be basically a real talk slash relationship talk video because it really applies to different aspects of life. So I don't know if I'm going to do a poem video or not this week because I got to be in that mode for it. And most of the time I am, but I do have my moments where it's just like I'm not really feeling it. And it may be because I have so much other things going on, or maybe it's just like I don't want to force the inspiration. And I could share some of my older poems, but I really don't want to do that. I've done that at times, and I've done it already on this channel. In fact, I did that last week. But I don't want to get in the habit of just sharing old work with you all. I really want it to be, new material. So, yeah, like I said, there may not be a poem video, but this video here may be sort of an extended one because I can say a lot about this topic. This topic, I've been talking to friends about it, and I mean, there are definitely different ways to look at it, and definitely different ways where it's relevant. So, like I said, this is going to be sort of a real talk slash relationship talk video. I may not put either one of those labels to it and just get directly to what the topic is. So you already saw what the topic is because I'm going to put that on the video. So you already saw what it is. It's about people that beg for attention. And there's another term for it. I'm not going to use that though on this channel because I do try to keep things clean. And even though I try to keep things clean on my channel, I still want to say this quickly before I get into this topic. When I make these videos, a lot of it is for me. I mean, I know that I'm communicating with some friends that I've made via YouTube, and some of my friends that I've had before I got into YouTube, longtime friends may check these out, friends of friends, and all of that. And I know that some people will happen across these videos as well. But these videos, I'll say this, I don't tend to really share them with co-workers and people associated with my job. And that's because my job is my job, and I love my job, but my job is my job, and then I have my life outside of that. And I don't really appreciate people that try to invade my time outside of that because I give 100% with my job. I do my best there, and I leave it there. So outside of that, this is me, my time for my friends, my family, and the people that I interact with via YouTube, So I'm just putting that out there that if you watch my videos, I would hope that you're watching it for the right reason. Like you're a person that's a part of this audience, not somebody from my work environment trying to invade, basically, because that's what it feels like to me. I'm just being real about that. But, enough about that. Let me move on to the topic here. So people begging for attention. When this topic comes to mind, right away what I think about is, how some people will say the loudest person in the room is usually the person with the least to say. I think that's very true, and it's obviously somebody trying to get attention, and they usually don't have anything important to add to the conversation. They're just being loud because they really want attention, and there might be different reasons why they want that. You do have some people that they may feel neglected from the people that they deal with on a regular basis. Like they might feel neglected by their closest friends, people that are supposed to be friends that don't really give them attention. Or especially, they might feel neglected by family members that they don't get enough attention there. And then also in relationships, some people feel like they're not getting enough attention from the person who they're with. Now, as far as that is concerned, if you're with somebody, if you're in a relationship with somebody, even if it's a marriage, if they're not giving you the attention that you feel you need to address that with them. I don't think it's really right to, let's say that, let's think of it in terms of percentages. So, and I know that some people use the percentage thing as well, and Tyler Perry has done that. Not a fan of his work, but I did like the one thing that he brought up within Why Did I Get Married, the whole idea of percentages. So some people will get like 80%. They feel like they're getting like 80% of what they need from somebody, but then there's that little bit lacking, so they try to find it somewhere else. And I'm gonna just say that I don't think there really is a such thing as 100%. Even in the best of relationships, there are going to be issues, and there are going to be times where you just like, people have to live their lives. We're always individuals. Even within a relationship, we're always individuals to an extent because we have our individual responsibilities. We have jobs. We have family to take care of. We have our own personal hobbies that we want to keep as a part of our life. So yeah, if you feel like you're not getting as much attention as you need, like I said, be reasonable, first of all. But if you feel like it's a major issue, then obviously bring it up. But what you should not do is stay in that relationship and then yet try to fill that void with other people, because that to me is pretty foul. And you may not be cheating, you may not be running around on the person that you're with, but still there are certain boundaries you just don't cross. And I think that some people, they really don't look at that line clearly enough. I feel like okay, for example, I know that a lot of times when people have been especially married for a long period of time, they may not feel as attractive anymore, even if their significant other is giving them compliments and everything, because they've heard it over the years. It starts to lose that value, I guess, which it really shouldn't. I'm not justifying that, because it really shouldn't. When somebody that you've been with for a long time says that you're beautiful, or they say that you're handsome, you should still appreciate that. I don't care how long they've been together. If you take that for granted, that's really on you. But I know there are some people that they just don't feel as attractive after a long time, so they start to try to seek out compliments and everything from other people. And to me, that gets kind of dicey, because I'll say cheating is not always about being physical. There's other lines that you just should not cross either. So it's, to me, one of those things you got to be very careful about, and be careful about, seeking attention outside of your relationship, because you could be easily disrespecting that relationship. So and like I said, there are many ways that people seek out attention, and let me get more general with it. In fact, let me just go ahead and get into the big one here, Facebook. There are so many people on Facebook begging for attention. It's sickening. I hardly go to Facebook anymore. I might post, I might go to certain groups and see what's going on, but I really don't like to run down my timeline, and it's because, I have a good number of people, and I hate to keep dropping people and blocking people and all this and that or whatever. And I know some people have their moments, so it's like I try not to really, criticize too much, but there's so many people that are just constantly seeking attention. It gets really annoying, especially when you have people that will hop on Facebook and they're like, I don't want to be bothered. Why would you hop on social media and say you don't want to be bothered? That's what social media is. Social is social. It's about interacting with people. So if you don't feel like interacting with people, get off of Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Get off of Instagram. If that's really how you feel, then get away from social media. You basically kind of block it out. I know I've done that at times when I felt like I just needed time to myself, time to process whatever it may be. I may block things out just for a day or two, to kind of get myself together, get my mind together, but yeah, these people that will hop on Facebook, especially Facebook, I'm using that as the main example, and then talk about how they're so bothered by everybody, and they might say nobody cares about me and all this and that. Look, if you're truly feeling that way, don't take it to Facebook, don't take it to social media, get some help. If there's really something major that you're feeling, like you might be feeling, extremely depressed, you might be feeling like you're not cared for, maybe you're even having suicidal thoughts. Those things require professional help, not Facebook. Facebook is not going to solve anything. And if you're the type of person that gets on there and says those sort of major things just because you want attention, then I just really don't care for that. I really can't stand that nonsense. You don't do that to people. Some people will have people all worried about them just because you're getting on there making it sound like you're going through something really deep, and then it turns out all it is that you wanted some attention. I just really don't care for that. And there's little things too that it might sound like I'm nitpicking, but there are some things that are kind of annoying, and maybe it crosses the line into not just being attention seeking, but also being very vain. If a woman posts a picture about herself, she's showing that she's confident in her beauty, fine. But I don't see why some women feel like they gotta, well, actually I know what it's about, but I'm just saying, in general, like it does kind of annoy me to see some women that feel like they gotta post like 40 pictures like of their face at one time. Like it's just ridiculous, especially that happens on Instagram. Some women, I guess they're just bored and they sit there and they'll take all these selfies or whatever, and then instead of picking and choosing and just putting up maybe 2 or 3, they want to put them all up. So when you go down, you're scrolling down Instagram, it's like you're seeing all of this one person, and it's all basically the same picture. It's like, and it's just like, I don't need all these little different angles. It's still you sitting on a couch doing nothing. I don't need to see that nonsense, So it's attention seeking and it's also vain. It's just ridiculous. Don't. I'll say it this way, and this might sound cruel, but don't force your boredom on me. That's really what it comes down to. Do not force your boredom on me. You're trying to seek attention because you can't figure out what you want to do. It's just like and I'm glad that I think Facebook finally did stop giving alerts every single time that somebody goes live on Facebook. I know I haven't been seeing it as much, but then again, it might be because I turned it off for certain individuals. But maybe it's just me, but some of you may have noticed as well that I'll say 9 times out of 10, when somebody goes live on Facebook, they're not doing anything. Either they are on the way somewhere or they just left from somewhere, but they're not doing anything. I mean, it's really like nothing going on. A lot of the times people are in the car or they're just waiting somewhere and they go live, and it's like, why? I don't want to see that nonsense. Like I said, I was really annoyed when I was getting alerts every single time that somebody would go live. So I'm glad that that's not happening, nearly as much anymore. I think I see alerts occasionally, but it hasn't been as bad. And again, maybe that's because I did block some people with those, but I don't know. It kind of annoys me. And I know it happens on Instagram as well. Some people will go live when they're bored, and it's just like, find something to do. Have a hobby. Like, that's the big problem. Some people they don't have a hobby at all. How could you not have a hobby at all? I don't understand that. You got to have something going on besides your work life and even besides your friends. You got to have something that you can do that motivates you, that you feel passionate about. And to me, it just adds so much to your life. But if you have no sort of hobby at all, nothing that occupies your time, then I think that's part of the reason why people end up seeking attention, because you're not doing anything, basically. You are just bored. So I know that's where some of that comes from. And I just feel like I could say so much more about this, but I definitely, when it comes to, I'm going to jump back for a moment because I don't want to feel like I'm glossing over something that is serious. I'll say again, if you're feeling like you're really depressed, do take that seriously. And I think we all have been there at some point. Everybody goes through depression at some point. And, I've been there before myself because I've dealt with a lot of things, and a lot of the heavy things on my shoulders, me taking care of it by myself, and it does weigh me down eventually. So, but at the same time, I talk to the right people and I've done the right things, and, I'm better off for it. So seek that help if you really need it. Don't just, reach out on social media, and even you got to be careful about who you reach out to, because some of these people you're reaching out to, they really don't have your back. You got to be careful about that. Same goes for people in a relationship where you're not happy in the relationship and then you're reaching out to other people trying to get advice and this and that or whatever. Horrible decision. And you got to be very careful about that too, because some people will steer you wrong, because if they're not completely happy, and especially if they're not happy in a relationship, then they don't want to see you happy. It might be somebody you could consider a best friend, but if they're not completely happy, they don't really want to see you completely happy a lot of times. So you got to be very careful about who you seek attention from. One other thing I got to say too is there are certain types of individuals that are notorious for being attention seeking, not just pretty women. I mean, there are a lot of beautiful women, which to me is kind of ridiculous, because if you already know you're beautiful, like, you don't have to try to find attention, because that is all actually off-putting. But another type of individual that's notorious for seeking attention are like people that are emo or goth or whatever it is, people that just they it's like they're trying to be so against society, and yet they're really not, because they basically become like their own little subculture. And I look at it this way too. Your personality should not require you to buy things. If you feel like your personality and who you are requires you to go buy some black t-shirts and eyeliner and all this stuff or whatever, that's not truly a personality, in my opinion. Your personality should not require that. And as a matter of fact, that kind of bugs me. And if it's just your style and you like the style, cool, I understand that. But it shouldn't affect the way that you behave, I don't think. Some people that are like goth and emo, whatever they want to call themselves, they can be such downers, and it's like, you really don't have to be like that. You could still be a happy person, but that's enough about that. But another type of attention-seeking individual that definitely aggravates me, and again, this relates to buying your personality, which is ridiculous, are people that basically potheads. Let me just be blunt about that. I just realized that pun there. That definitely wasn't intentional. But yeah, this it's just real ridiculous to me. And I know that a lot of more and more states are basically legalizing it, and I think eventually it will be nationwide. So, but for some people to act like because they smoke weed, that's something cool about them, that is so lame to me. Some people act like that makes their personality. That's who they are. Like, and again, let me use Instagram as an example because I see this there. I see some people, they're always posting pictures of themselves smoking. They're always rocking their Bob Marley t-shirts and the tie-dye t-shirts and all this stuff. And, they only listen to people that, like listen to rap music, rappers talking about weed and this and that or whatever. And it's just so lame. That's not a personality. It's just, it's basically a vice. Even if it gets legalized all across the country, it's still just a vice. That's all there is to it. You can't act like it's a positive thing to me. People trying to act like weed is so positive and it's just get off that nonsense. Just accept it as a vice. Adults have their vices, and people may feel different ways about that when it comes to religion, but when it comes down to it, it's just, it's still a vice. So that does not define who you are. And if you want to act like that defines who you are, then you really don't know anything about yourself. So, yeah, I wish people would cut that nonsense out, acting like that's supposed to impress people and that's supposed to make you cool because you do that. It just, no, it's lame, Something else just crossed my mind as well, and I let it slip here. Now I remember. Now I remember. Okay. Yeah, I definitely got to address this as well. This probably could be its own separate video. I'm going to address it here, and don't be surprised if I address it again in the future. But okay, and this kind of goes back to relationship talk, and I know I've been kind of jumping around, but that tends to happen with these videos because I don't have cue cards or anything like that. It's off the top of the head. But I definitely need to address this that, okay, I think it's natural for men to want attention from women. Of course, men crave attention from women. Women crave attention from men. And, even for people that are not, even for people that are not straight, still, it's like, guys that are not straight, they may still hang around women because they like to be, just like to hang around them, and the other way around as well. It happens. Because I think it's just a natural thing ingrained in us, regardless of, your orientation, that you do gravitate towards people that are different at times, in terms of gender. So, like I said, that's a natural thing, but this is something that really bothers me, and I've had it happen to me, I'll say maybe too often in the past. I allowed it to happen. Now I'm a lot more aware of it. I pay a lot more attention to it. But, I really do think that men and women can just be friends, and that's fine. That's fine. But what annoys me though is there are some men and some women that will intentionally, lead somebody on and have them thinking that there could be more there when it's not really the case. All it is that they want to make sure that they keep your attention, and especially if you're praising them and if you're giving them compliments and maybe even taking them out and things like that. They want to keep leading you on. That's what it is. They want to keep leading you on, so they just keep that attention coming in. So that to me is pretty foul to do that to somebody. Again, it's really the fault of both people in the situation, because the person being led on does need to have their eyes open. Like I said, I've allowed it to happen to me in the past, and I've learned to keep my eyes open for that a lot more. And it takes time to learn that, so I've become a lot more aware of that. And then also the person that is doing the leading on, that's just foul, because you really know that you are wasting somebody's time. You straight up know that you're wasting somebody's time. That's really foul to me. And then this is something else that I absolutely hate, and I might actually leave it with this point, because I really don't like to do super long videos, but I did have a lot I want to address in this one. But something else that happens, and I think is just so foul, is that some people will be leading somebody on just to get their attention, and then when this when this person finally finds something real, they have a shot at a real relationship, then you will have people that, the person that's doing the leading on, all of a sudden they act like, well, I thought we were going to be together and this and that, and they completely interfere with this person having something real. That is just so wrong. I cannot stand when people do that. And I've had people try that with me before. As a matter of fact, when I got married, I was married before, and it was just amazing the reaction out of some of the women I've dealt with in the past before. I had several women say like, well, I thought we were going to be together and this and that or whatever. And it's like, I was there. I was available, so I really don't want to hear that nonsense. And it may have been a situation also where we really were just friends, and then it's like, they hurt by it too, and I didn't quite comprehend it. And even today, I still sometimes don't completely understand that because, I just feel like, I know, at least for me, like, if I know I want to be with somebody, then we're going to be together, as long as the other person is down with that. But if it didn't go that direction, then and I move on, then that's just, it is what it is, So I just don't like people interfering once somebody that you didn't really try to build that relationship with, once they decide to go for something real, then you try to interfere. That's just dead wrong. That's all there is to it. Dead wrong. So I'll say this also real quick, and then I'm seriously going to wrap it up. So I want to wrap it up with the focus on relationships, because I usually do relationship talk towards the end of the week. I'll just say this. If you are fortunate enough to be in a relationship, obviously, this is somebody you want to be with for some reason. For some reasons, shouldn't be just one, but for some reasons, you want to be with this person. So think of it as your job to give this person some attention. Now, obviously, you got to work. Your schedules might be different. You got your other responsibilities to take care of. You might have to go visit family and this, that, and the other, whatever you do. You want to keep contact with your friends. All of that's good, but you definitely avoid making the person that you say that you really want to be with, they should never feel like completely neglected, because then you're just doing wrong. You're doing that person wrong. So make sure they get the attention that they deserve. And if you're with the type of person that you're giving the attention, because I was there before. If you know that you're giving as much attention as you can, and yet it's never appreciated, and they act like it's never enough, then they don't deserve it. That's all it comes down to. They really do not deserve it. That's a big part of the reason why I decided that I was better off being single again, because I know that I like to give a lot of attention. I like being a romantic person, and trying to treat a woman like a queen. So if it's not appreciated, I'm not wasting my time and energy. That's all there is to it. And nobody should do that. You should not go out give your 100% and this other person acts like you're not doing anything. They easily dismiss all the things that you're doing for them. That's just no good. So, and that's a whole other topic that I could talk a lot more about someday. As a matter of fact, several things that I addressed in this video, don't be surprised if I come back to them eventually, with some real talk videos and relationship talk videos. But like I said, for this one, this kind of addressed different aspects of life, different types of individuals. But yeah, it's all focusing on attention though. So I don't know if like the whole Facebook type of thing will ever change, but I just know for me personally, I try to stay off of Facebook, like especially off of my timeline, because it'll really make me just not like some people that are constantly seeking attention. But yeah, I definitely want to hear your feedback as always, and let me know some of these situations that you've seen where people are obviously seeking attention, and give me some examples as well. I know you've seen some interesting examples, so please share them with me in the comments, and let's have that dialogue about it. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and you all take care till next time.